What's happening, everybody? It is Brent Axe, and we are live here on the Syracuse Orange Basketball Facebook page, presented by our friends at Krause Health. And we are coming off the heels of a rare, easy victory for Syracuse in ACC play. There's been a lot of close games, overtime, back and forth basketball for the Orange since ACC play has begun. But a nice, easy night at the Carrier Dome. Syracuse gets its first win in ACC play at home. They improved to 10-7 overall, 3-3 in ACC play with a 76-50 win over Boston College. Great to have you guys back here. Love the early start time on the live chat, even following Jim Boeheim's press conference. 6:30 tips. I'm all about the 6:30 tip times on weeknights. I think this should be a permanent thing. What do you guys think? So get in the comments, do your thing. I will respond to you guys here shortly. If you're watching a little bit later on, whenever you want on YouTube, we appreciate that. Just for those of you that are here with us live, we do put this up on the Syracuse Orange Sports YouTube page. It's in my recap of the day following the game. You can find the YouTube clip easily if this is a chat that you want to check out on demand on your time if you can't be here right after the game. So, yeah, easy peasy for the Orange tonight as Boston College. Just a horrid offensive night. Syracuse's defense certainly had a lot to do with that. But you look at the shooting numbers overall, Syracuse goes 28 of 54, 52%. That was after a pretty rough start for Syracuse, by the way. They did not start the game shooting well for about the first 12, 13 minutes of this game. At one point, both teams were shooting 3 of 14 overall, but eventually Syracuse warmed up, particularly Buddy Boeheim warmed up, and the Orange finished at 52% on the night, including an 8 of 18 night from three-point range. Boston College shoots 20 of 61. That's 32%. They were 6 of 30 from three-point range, but a lot of those came in garbage time. At one point, BC was 1 of 20 from three-point range. They were not a good three-point shooting team coming in, and they certainly weren't a good three-point shooting team tonight. Syracuse, a perfect 12 of 12 from the free throw line. He stilled my heart. Free throws matter. Boston College, just 8 opportunities at the line, and they hit 4 of those. Syracuse pounded inside, got 40 rebounds to BC's 28. Syracuse wins the points in the paint department, something they have not done a lot of this year, 36-18. Really, no matter where you look, I mean, the one thing you can look at and flub with, I guess, a couple of individual performances. Syracuse had 15 turnovers on the night. BC only got 10 points off of that. But, look, when you can take an easy, breather type of game, I should say. You can say breathy if you want. A nice breeze for Syracuse in ACC play. You got to take it because, this league has been wild this year. All you got to do is look at last night. Duke loses to Clemson. Pittsburgh gives Louisville a run. It seems like every night there's an upset in the league. There's a game you don't see coming, and what you have to do is take care of business when you can and just pile up ACC wins because this win doesn't help Syracuse other than a nice bump in the league standings. It would hurt them more than it would help them if they lost in this case. It's not a big win in terms of net rankings or anything like that, but it's not a game you want to lose, particularly at home. Syracuse got that monkey off their back, their first ACC win at home. So they went out and took care of business thanks to Buddy Boeheim, who was 4 of 7 from three-point range throughout a big portion of this game. Buddy Boeheim outscored Boston College. Till well into the second half, Buddy Boeheim was outscoring Boston College. That's how bad the Eagles were on offense. He ends up 4 of 7 from three-point range, 9 of 17 overall. Elijah Hughes right at his season average of 19 points on the night, adds 5 assists and 4 rebounds. How about Marek Dolezaj with the double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds on the night, 3 assists, 2 blocks. We're just getting used to that stat-stuffing box score that Marek Dolezaj provides. Joe Girard, 12 points. Did turn the ball over a few times tonight, 2 rebounds. Joe only playing 25 minutes, and that was a portion of the score got out of hand. Joe did turn his ankle a little bit in the first half. Doesn't appear to be anything serious, but Jim Boeheim didn't really want to push that, and it gave Bryson Goodine some quality minutes. And that's huge for these young players like Bryson Goodine, for Howard Washington Jr., for Jesse Edwards, to get in there and get some quality minutes. Edwards played 10, although he wasn't really Jim Boeheim wasn't really in the mood to discuss that when asked by Mike Waters at the press conference, saying literally, I'm not really going to discuss that. So that was kind of weird. But Howard Washington played 13 minutes. Quincy Guerrier didn't really take advantage of his time out there. 4 points, 5 rebounds, in 21 minutes. You want to see him progress a little bit more, considering he's the main threat off the bench. BC was not really that intimidating inside, so that's something that you can kind of quibble with there. Barama Sidibe with 2 points and 6 rebounds. Didn't really get into serious foul trouble like he has the previous 8 games, fouled out of Syracuse's last game against Virginia on Saturday. He didn't have a huge night, so, if you want to nitpick a few things, there's a couple there, but you will take an easy night. You will take a walk in the park. You'll take a good offensive night. I'll tell you, one thing I was really impressed with was we've seen it in spots this year, but Buddy Boeheim got the opportunity in this game to really work on his inside drives. He would fake at the three-point line, take it in, just dribble drive into the paint, using the glass. That's a shot you could tell he's been working on since the opportunity to go out there and execute. You could tell that Jim, Dad, was telling the son to do that shot, to take advantage of that more, because we know Buddy can shoot threes, right? Like, Buddy is on a record-setting pace. He could beat Jerry McNamara's single-season three-point record. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league and is knocking on the door as being one of the best three-point shooters in the country if he continues at this rate. And Buddy has been on a real hot streak. I know that Virginia game, for most of it, he just could not hit shots, but going into that game, he had averaged 20 points in 6 straight before the Virginia game, obviously made the big shots in overtime and late in that Virginia game, and then he was just consistent here. And this is what Syracuse needs. It's a team that lives and dies by the three and takes the inside opportunities when they come. And to see that Buddy can do that, now there's better defensive teams that he can't just drive into the paint with ease like he did in this game, but it's good to see that he's kind of adding that to his game as well. So, hey, listen, not a lot to quibble with tonight. Syracuse got to take care of business, win in ACC play, and you'll take those anytime you can. So what do you say we see what you guys are saying here? How about that 6:30 tip time, man? I am all about that. Uncle Brent loves the early tip times on the weeknights. I think we should petition to have that full time. Did I already mention that? Ben Burrows and I, my man from syracuse.com, making things happen behind the scenes. We love the early tip times on the weeknights. 9 o'clock tip times, 6:30 tip times, we love them. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Lynn says, congratulations from Florida. All right, just saw the score. Wish it was on TV. Yeah, ACC Network tonight. Not everybody, unfortunately, gets that at this point. Free throws were problematic since I was at Syracuse. How about 12 for 12? Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, especially when you got Joe Girard, who's leading the country at 96%. He's missed 2 free throws all year. All year. It's incredible because you need a guard out there who's going to make you pay if you put him on the free throw line. And this wasn't a game where you're following because you want to stop the clock and make it close because Syracuse had that big gap. But that is a huge advantage for Syracuse. Joe, I think the last 8 games now is averaging 15 points per game. Didn't hit his average tonight, but certainly had, a pretty solid night in 25 minutes. He's distributing the ball. He's hitting free throws, like holding his own, showing that he can be a guard in ACC play. Jim Boeheim just mentioned it at his press conference that we weren't really planning on the freshman-sophomore backcourt. Remember, Jalen Carey was supposed to be the starting point guard in this team, but things have certainly worked out there. Joe is ready and has handled ACC play about as well as can be for a player in his position and is getting better as a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Not much more you can ask for him. Ed saying it's a great confidence builder for Syracuse. Jamie saying, how about that fadeaway jumper? That was pretty from Buddy. Brian saying need a low turnover game against Virginia Tech Saturday and intensity for 40 minutes. No question about that, Brian. I was wondering what the follow-up would be tonight because the league's been so weird. And Boston College was down a couple starters. We should certainly mention that. But that team beat Virginia. Boston College beat Notre Dame. Like, it's just such a weird league this year. Syracuse had to show some consistency. They had to show that they can pick up the momentum from Saturday. And, momentum's a weird thing in sports. Some people say it doesn't exist. But it was a huge confidence builder on Saturday. But it wouldn't mean nothing if they came out and were flat at the Dome tonight. So you saw a little consistency from this team. You saw a team get a take-care-of-business win. And we'll see if that carries over. I think you're absolutely right. I think the good news at this point is that Syracuse has been great on the road in ACC play, certainly not intimidated. They went to the most intimidating place you can go other than Cameron Indoor, of course, and Syracuse certainly handled their business there when they've gone in the past. They don't go to Cameron this year. So Virginia was one of the toughest road tests they're going to have, and they passed that with flying colors. Virginia Tech, not an easy gym to play in either, so I think you make some good points there, Brian. Richard says, hello from Fort Myers. All of our Florida correspondents are here tonight. I love it. It's actually been pretty decent up here weather-wise in Syracuse, but that's going to take a turn tonight. We got some snow, about 4 to 6 inches tomorrow here in central New York. Winter, I think, was in Florida for a few days, but has certainly come back and back with a vengeance this weekend. RJ saying that this game ended before the last home game started. I like that. Ed says, congrats from Georgia. All right. Like when you guys check in from wherever you are, because we get people from all over the world, really. We've had people check in internationally here on this chat as well. Love seeing where you guys are checking in from. Neil says that Coach B said for a while that this team would be a work in progress. They seem to be getting better. Not saying top 25, but they really show promise for the second half of the year. Go Orange, and Neil's in SoCal. Love it, Neil. I don't think the sun's even gone down in SoCal. That's how early this game started tonight. Lizzie's from the garage at the Dome. Hey, Lizzie. So you were up at the game tonight, huh? Jamie is rooting from the Q's from Ohio. Rick notes the good recovery from the slow start. That's a great point, Rick, because sometimes what can happen is when you play a team like this, Virginia's an expert at it. They can drag you into the mud with you. Bad play is contagious, right? And for about 12 minutes, that was the case. This is a dreadful game, frankly, to start. But once Syracuse got warmed up and Buddy got into the rhythm and it opened things up, Boston College starts 0 of, I think it was 19, either 0 of 18 or 0 of 19 from three-point range. And, boy, some of these games have been brutal to watch, but at least Syracuse showed up. And I don't know, maybe it was that 6:30 tip time. I love the 6:30 tip, but they weren't ready to go at 6:30. But get used to it, boys, because we want those tip times, those early tip times to stick. Michael says hello from Palm Beach. Are we back? That is a great question, Michael, because they've had a little consistency. The league's been up and down. They've proven they can win on the road. There's only 4 quad 1 wins on the schedule. So when you say when they're back, they've got to get big wins. They got one in the books against Virginia, right? So now you've got to get those games where you're winning up, and there's not a lot of those on the schedule, and you've got to pile up some quad 2 wins and just hope it's good enough. 10 wins might not be good enough in the ACC this year. There's only 4 or 5 teams right now that look like they're getting in the league. But I'll say this, they do look like a more confident team. They look like a more consistent team. The defense was certainly better tonight. You feast on a bad opponent like this. You build confidence. You can see that 6-man, a little bit further tonight, of course, with the younger guys getting in with the big score, but that 6-7-man rotation is settling in. I'd like to see Quincy Guerrier step up. He should be better than he is right now here in mid-January, really getting into the heart of ACC play. He's just all over the place. He either looks great or he looks bad, and there's kind of no in between at this point. Buddy's confident. Joe's confident. Elijah is going to play, and it's one of the best scorers in the league right now. Marek is, piling up the stats. So I wouldn't quite say they're back, but this is a team that's got to win games like this and take care of business. So when they get into those tougher games, those games they have to win up, they've got a shot. But, boy, this like we mentioned, Pittsburgh almost took down Louisville last night. Duke loses. There's no team in this league that you look at and say, no way. And honestly, I thought that about Virginia. And look what happened there. There's my man, Rob, who says Syracuse, a 13-7 record. Does that have Syracuse in the conversation of making the tournament, splitting the season series with Notre Dame and Virginia Tech while getting those road wins? Could be pivotal. It depends on what those 13 wins are, because I think they're going to need at least 3 quad 1 wins just to be in the conversation. Because remember, their non-conference record, there's nothing there. They did not win a team. They piled up too many losses of note in non-conference play. So they've really got to shine in ACC play and pretty much win all those quad 1 games. Maybe you can drop one. Maybe they just give you the benefit of the doubt there because of a tough league and those teams at the top. But I don't know if it's record this year. Usually it's, you had this many wins in this conference, we put you in. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. It's just so darn weird in college basketball. Jamie notes it here. February is a big month. A lot of chances there to get some big wins, preferably at Louisville, since I'll be at that game. There you go, Jamie. And that's a big win on the road. Road wins almost count twice in that case to get those quad 1 wins. And there's not a lot of them on the table. Who would have thought that North Carolina's not a quad 1 win, and the awful season they're having? There's only a few on the books. By the way, Virginia's got to keep winning. Right now, that's a quad 1 win for Syracuse, but Virginia's got to keep winning for that status to hold. So RJ notes it right there. RJ, hey, Tom, checking in from Melbourne, Florida. A lot of Florida people out there tonight. sitting at the beach watching Facebook Live. I love it. RJ asked the question, will Virginia still be a quad one in March? I don't know. Root for the Cavs because Syracuse already has those 2 games in the books, and you want the best wins possible on the schedule for sure. Anthony says, about time Syracuse won comfortably. Yeah, it's certainly been a while in league play, that's for sure. Josh noting that Syracuse never plays well in the ACC tournament. That has to change. Completely agree, because they're probably going to need a good run in the ACC tournament just to kind of ensure that they're worthy of a tournament team if they're in that conversation. And we're kind of in that weird, like there's a long way to go, but there's not a long way to go. So Syracuse is 3-3 in league play, 6 down. That makes how many ACC games to go? So 14 to go in league play. It's a lot of games, but we did our midseason predictions over again, and it was interesting because everybody, myself, Mike Waters, Don Ditota, Chris Carlson, we all had Syracuse kind of downgraded a little bit. I was the most optimistic of Syracuse in our preseason predictions, Sweet 16. Ooh. Had the strong stuff that night, but everybody has them now pretty much 17, 16 wins, something like that. I don't know, that league record, it all depends what the wins are. It's not a number this year. This can't be one of those years where you say, oh, they won this many games in the league. It doesn't matter. It's all about the quad wins and what the quality is at this point. Oh, boy, Virginia and Florida State tied right now. That's a good game. What do you say we end this thing and go watch the end of that thing? Ben Burrows is so happy. He gets to go home early tonight. Thank you for hanging with us, guys. As always, appreciate it. Just a reminder, we do put this on YouTube if you can't be here live. If you're at the beach, if you're in the parking garage, after a game, wherever you check us out on Facebook Live, we do put this up on YouTube so you can watch it on your time. We're going to come back on Saturday. Let me see here off the top of my head. I'll look it up while we're yakking about it here. I forget what tip time is for Saturday. I want to make sure you guys know when to come hang with us for Facebook Live, presented by Krause Health after the game. Oh, we got a nooner on Saturday. All these early start times. Love this part of the schedule. So 12 o'clock tip will be here on Facebook Live after Jim Boeheim's press conference, so in that 2 to 2:30-ish range. And again, if you miss it, you can catch it on YouTube on your time. Thanks to Krause Health. Thanks to everybody for watching tonight. We'll catch you again on Saturdays. The Orange take on Virginia Tech, a rematch of that 67-63 loss the Orange had to the Hokies just a week ago. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for checking us out, as always.